and it'll continue to do that. Now, as Mark mentioned, the big question is not when should I file for my Social Security benefit, but how can I maximize my Social Security monthly benefit? And as we said, the reason you want to do that is because this is going to last you probably on average 20, 25 years, maybe even 30 or 35 years. So you have to maximize your benefits to ensure that what you're receiving over your lifetime then is what you need to have a good retirement. There's 4 types of benefits. The first one is retirement. Then there's survivor, disability, and family benefits. The family benefits are tied into the other 3. So if you have somebody filing for retirement and they have a young child or a spouse that's eligible for Social Security benefits, they can draw off of their retirement record. You normally think about family benefits with disability or survivors, but it can include with retirement. So you have retirement benefits for people who turn 62 or older, survivor benefits if you die and you leave a family that may be eligible for some benefits. And then if someone becomes disabled where they're unable to work, then there's benefits payable to them and to their family. So before you even think about your filing for your Social Security benefit, hopefully you have looked at your annual statement. Now, I hope that you have your annual statement, you've looked at it in the past, but you may have noticed that last year you didn't receive one. And that's because the Social Security Administration quit sending those out last year. It was all budgetary reasons. They did it to save money. But I believe they must have received a lot of negative comments about that because they've started to send those back out again on a limited basis. For people before they reach their 60th birthday, about 3 months before your birthday, you'll receive your annual statement, and then you'll receive one each year until you file for your Social Security benefit. A little later this year, they're going to start sending them out to people as they approach age 25. So 3 months before your 25th birthday, you'll receive your annual statement in the mail. But what do you do if you're between 25 and 60, or it's not quite time for your birthday yet, and you want to look at your annual statement? Well, what you can do is go to the Social Security website. It's www.socialsecurity.gov. And if you look on the screen, you can see on the left-hand side, there's this big news sticker. And if you click on that, you can sign up to look at your annual statement anytime that you want. Now, they're going to ask you a lot of questions to make sure you are who you say you are. They're going to want to know your name, your Social Security number, your date of birth. And they're also going to ask you some questions off of your credit report. For instance, they'll say you bought a car in 2000 and you took out the loan from bank A, B, C, or D, and you have to pick the right bank. And they ask you 3 or 4 of those questions that hopefully only you know. And then if you answer those correctly, you establish a username and password, and you can go in and look at this annual statement anytime that you want. So what's so important about the annual statement? Well, what this shows is what the Social Security Administration has on file for you under your Social Security number. So it'll show, for instance, what your full retirement age is and how much your benefit is going to be at your full retirement age. It'll show you how much your benefits will be at 62, or even if you wait until age 70. And then it'll also include how much benefits would be if you become disabled or if you pass away, what your family could be eligible to receive. It also shows your date of birth. And this is important that it's correct because Social Security uses your date of birth when they're computing how much your monthly benefit is going to be. So when they tell you up in the top of this page how much your retirement benefit is, it's based on whatever they say your date of birth is. They also make an assumption that whatever was used on your record or posted to your record in the last year for earnings, that you're going to continue to work and earn that through your full retirement age. Now, in our example, that shows none, because the one that we're using, this person didn't have any wages in 2011, but if they would have had wages in 2011, then Social Security would have used those wages in their computation, assuming they're going to work and earn that until they reach their full retirement age. You go to page 3, and what you'll see is that it lists your wages each year. So year by year, it shows how much Social Security has on record for you as far as your posted wages are concerned. Now, don't get confused. There's a couple of columns there. One is for your Social Security posted wages, and the other is for Medicare. And the reason they do that is that the Medicare wages reflect what you paid the Medicare tax on. And you pay the Medicare tax on all of your wages, where the Social Security benefit can top out at a certain number. This year it's $110,100, and that's all that Social Security is going to give you credit for when they're computing your monthly benefit amount. What you want to look at when you look at this is to see if what's posted to your record is correct. If your wages are correct, then the number that Social Security tells you your benefit's going to be when you reach your full retirement age is going to be correct. Look on the screen, and you'll see 1976 kind of jumps right out at you. There were no earnings posted for that year. And what you want to do is make sure that that's correct. If it is, then that's fine. But if you had wages, if this was your record and you had wages in 1976, you would have to go to the Social Security office and take them your W-2 form or your Schedule SE from your tax return and show them that you had earnings, and the person in the office could go ahead and correct your record right there and then. It's easy for them to do, but they won't do it unless you have your documentation. Most people don't have documentation back to 1976, or even maybe past the last 5 to 10 years. Your employer's not going to have it, IRS isn't going to have it. So that's why you want to make sure your record is correct, and you keep an eye on it to make sure it stays correct, because it's easier to fix if it's current years and you've got your documentation. Now, something else you want to keep an eye out for, and it's a little bit of a problem that Social Security has, is sometimes they post some of your wages but not all of your wages. They have a particular problem if you work for a company that's bought out and you receive 2 W-2 forms, one from the old company and one from the new company. But it's not as obvious as that zero. So look at the year 2000 and compare that to 1999 and 2001. And those earnings dropped quite a bit for 2000 and then jumped right back up in 2001. But it doesn't stick out like that zero does, so you may not notice that if you're not looking for it. But if that's correct, then again, that's fine. You don't have to do anything. If it's incorrect, then you'll need to go to the Social Security office to get that fixed. The reason that we want to make sure your annual statement is right is because Social Security, as you'll see when we get to it, uses your earnings to compute your monthly benefit amount in your retirement, and you want to make sure that it's correct. So what do you have to do then to be eligible for Social Security retirement benefits? Well, there's a couple things you need to do. First, you have to get a job and you have to work and make some money. And this year, you have to earn $1,130. $1,130 will earn you 1/4 of coverage. And you can earn up to 4 quarters of coverage in each year. To draw a Social Security retirement benefit, you have to have a minimum of 40 quarters of coverage. So that equals about 10 years of work. You don't have to earn that all in 10 years. If you earn 2 quarters a year, then in 20 years you'd have your 40 quarters. And what that does, once you have your 40 quarters, is it guarantees that you're going to receive some type of Social Security benefit, and also that you're entitled to Medicare hospital insurance, commonly referred to as Part A, with no monthly premium amount. So you earn your 40 quarters, you're good for retirement, you're good for Medicare, and there's no current requirement that's needed So even if you never worked and paid Social Security tax again, when you reach the retirement age, then you're going to be eligible to draw a Social Security benefit. The other thing then that you need to do is wait until you reach age 62. And at age 62, and for everybody has to be 62 for the entire month. So most people, it's age 62 and 1 month. You can file for benefits the month after your birthday. That isn't the case for people who turn sick, their birthdays on the 2nd of the month. If you were born on the 2nd of the month, according to Social Security, you turn the age of your birthday the day before your birthday. So if you were born, for example, September 2nd, you turn 62 September 1st, you would be able to draw a check for the month of September. If you were born September the 3rd, then you would have to wait until October for your benefits to start. But once you reach that point, then you can file for benefits at any time that you want. Keeping in mind that if you take your Social Security benefit before your full retirement age, and that's somewhere between 65 and 67, depends on the year of your birth. If you take those benefits before your full retirement age, then they're reduced because you took them early. You receive a partial benefit. If you wait until your full retirement age, you'll receive your full benefit. So the difference between your full retirement age and age 62, if your full retirement age is 66, is a 25% reduction. If your full retirement age is 67, it's a 30% reduction. Now, on the other side of that, if you delay taking your benefits beyond your full retirement age, Social Security is going to increase your monthly benefit amount. They will, for each month that you delay taking your benefit past your full retirement age, they'll increase that amount by 2/3 of 1%, and that equals 8% a year. So if your full retirement age is 66 and you wait until age 70, you're going to receive a 32% increase. No reason to wait past 70 because Social Security won't give you those credits after age 70.
I want to remind everybody, this is Mark Kiner. I've been practicing in Cincinnati for about 30 years as a CPA. You're listening to the Ask the Expert session on iShade, and the title of today's course is Social Security Basics and Advanced Planning Strategies. I moderate the Social Security group on iShade. I'd like to have you join us if you're able to do so. We currently have about 190 members and looking to grow. I've been moderating the Social Security group for about 1.5 years, and I post frequently updates about Social Security as well as educational pieces. Jim Blair, my partner, he is a 35-year veteran of the Social Security Administration, and together we help people to make a plan to take control and maximize their benefits. After today's webinar, please log into iShade and be involved with our Q&A session in the Practitioners to Practitioners group. I'll turn the phone back over to Jim.
Thanks, Mark. We're going to talk then about how Social Security comes up with that number that you see on your annual statement. When they show you that you're going to receive X amount of dollars at your full retirement age, how do they come up with that number? Well, fortunately, now it's all done by computer. You don't have to worry about somebody doing it by hand. And if the information that's posted on your annual statement is correct, then the amount of money that they tell you that you're going to receive is going to be pretty accurate. And what they do to compute that benefit is they look at all of your earnings and they apply an inflation factor to the earnings that you have up through age 59. So they call this indexing, but it's bringing up your earnings in the past up to today's dollars. After they go through and index all of those earnings, they're going to pick your highest 35 years of earnings to start the computation. Now, that doesn't mean just because they stop indexing your wages at 59, that doesn't mean what you earn at age 60, 61, or 62 and so forth isn't going to count. It's just going to be whatever the actual dollar amount that your earnings were for those particular years. So then they pick your highest 35 years of earnings and divide that by 420. And what that does is it gives Social Security your average monthly indexed wage over that period of time. So there's 420 months in a 35-year period. After they determine this average monthly index wage, they break it into 3 brackets. The first bracket is 0 this year anyway. It changes from year to year. It's 0 to $767. The second bracket is $767 to $4,624. And then the third bracket is your average wage over $4,624. So they'll take the first bracket, and most everybody receives 90% of that. The second bracket, everybody receives 32%, and the third bracket, everybody receives 15%. So if you think about it, you can see that Social Security benefits are computed to give lower earning wage earners a little better return on their Social Security benefit. The higher that your average monthly wage is, then the less percentage versus what your earnings were that you're going to receive. Doesn't mean that they receive more money. It's just a little closer to what their average wage was through their working career. Now, if you look at the screen, we have up there what the benefit calculation would be for someone who had maximum earnings through their working career. This is someone who turned 62 in 2012. So they were born in 1950, and the year they turned 62 is 2012, and that determines then the indexing factor for those folks. You'll see the column index factor. That's the same for everybody that turns 62 this year. That's going to change for people that turn 62 next year. So it's hard to tell exactly how much your benefits are going to be if you haven't reached age 62 yet, but it's still pretty close. So they take each year, take that indexing factor, multiply it towards times your earnings, and you can see that in 1962, the maximum earnings were $4,800. Well, in today's dollars, that's $46,612. After Social Security goes through and does this indexing computation, then they pick the highest 35 years. Now, in this case, that's the last 35 years. But that's not always true. It's the highest 35 years. They add those together, came up with about $3,443,000. Divide that by 420, and this person's average monthly index wage is $8,199. So you take that first bracket, the 767, and they get 90% of that. You take the second bracket, so you have the figure between 4624 and over 767, and you receive 32% of that. And because this person's average monthly wage was over $4,624, they receive 15% of that particular portion. And so their monthly benefit at their full retirement age is $2,460. That's how much this person would receive at age 66 if they didn't have any more earnings posted to their record. Now, let's say this person's still working, and in 2012 they're going to earn the $110,100. Well, what will happen is the $110,100 will be added in, and the lowest year used to compute their benefit will drop off, which is 1978. So the $69,000 would drop off, and what you're looking at then is the difference between $69,000 and $110,100, and then they're going to get 15% of that. So that's the increase they're going to see in their monthly benefit amount. So they won't see a huge increase, but they do get credit for those earnings. And Social Security will do that year after year. Every year you have earnings, they'll look, even if you're drawing your Social Security benefit, they look to see if they can increase your Social Security benefit. Now you can look then, we'll show you an example of, well, let's go show the other example. Look at the other example for the middle income worker. And the procedure is exactly the same, but what you'll notice is that The year 1969 was a high year, and then the next high year was 1978, and then it was pretty much the last years after that. But it wasn't the last 35 years. It was the highest 35 years. And then notice, too, that third bracket, there's nothing in there. And that's because their average monthly wage was not over $4,624. So Social Security uses this to come up with the person's full retirement age benefit. Now, if you look over then a little bit to the right, you'll see that if your benefit is $1,603 at age 66, and you want to take those benefits at age 62, you're going to suffer a 25% reduction, and you'll receive $1,208 a month, and that follows you the rest of your life. Once you receive a reduced benefit, they're always reduced. But you can also see then if you wait until age 70, it's increased 32%, jumps up to $2,116, and just like the reduction, you're going to receive this increase for the rest of your life. The other parts of these two, and we'll talk a little more about this when we get into the survivor benefits, but if you take your benefit at 62 and your benefits are reduced, you're going to reduce the benefits a surviving spouse receives from your Social Security record. Likewise, if you receive any delayed retirement credits, they receive the benefit of those delayed retirement credits. So the benefits are adjusted for inflation, use your highest 35 years, and then they just break it into the bracket and those three brackets and figure out how much your Social Security benefit is going to be. Now you can see on the screen it shows what the indexing factors are. This is for folks that turned 62 in 2012. It was different last year, and it'll be different next year. But this stays constant. This is what the people that turned 62 this year have used in their computation, whether they file for benefits at 62 or any point thereafter. So you can see then there's some examples of a low income worker, middle income worker, and a higher income worker. And the benefits for the lower income worker, while they are receiving a higher percentage return on their Social Security benefit, they don't receive more money. So, retirement. Earliest you can file 62. What I didn't mention is what happens if you were born on the first of the month. And if you're wondering about that, think about it. You turn 62 then the last day of the month before your birthday. So if you were born September 1st, you turn 62 August 31st, you'll still get a check for September, but that's also considered the month after you turned age 62 as far as Social Security computations are concerned. The full retirement age benefit is ranging between 65 and 67. This came about as with the change in the law back in the 80s when they were working on making the program more solvent. And it started with people born in 1938. Their full retirement age jumped up from 65 to 65 in 2 months. We're currently at a point where the full retirement age is 66, and that's for everybody born between 43 and 1954. And then folks born after 1960, their full retirement age is 67. So we're in the process of working our way from 65 to 67. And then the delayed retirement credits kick in after your full retirement age. So if your full retirement age is 66, then and you don't take benefits at 66, you start earning delayed retirement credits. If your full retirement age is 67, you don't start earning those until you reach age 67. Okay, so if you take benefits at 62, it's a 25% reduction. 65 is about a 6.7% reduction. What Social Security does is they reduce your benefit for each month that you're under your full retirement age. So you don't have to file the month of your birthday. If you filed, say, at 65 and a half, they're not going to reduce you all the way back to 65, 6.7%. It's going to be more like 3 point, whatever half of 6.7% is, 3.35%. So it's based on each month. But if you'll notice, once you take a reduction in your benefits, they're always reduced. Social Security being a lifetime benefit, then if you take a reduced benefit, it's reduced the rest of your life. Now, if you look at the screen, if you don't know what your full retirement age is, you can check that out. It shows what your full retirement age is. Mark is kind of drawing on this. He's learned a new trick with the computer, it would appear. But I don't think 1955, he took you up to full retirement age of 66. That's not going to work. So you'll have to follow your own way over. But you can see, figure out your date of birth. You can see what your full retirement age is, and then what that reduction would be at age 62.
Sorry, guys, I'm having a little trouble with my pointer. I'm usually the organizer of webinars, and I can easily change my pointer back to whatever I want. But since Megan has control, I don't think I can do that. I'll struggle with it. We'll see what I can do. Keep going, Jim.
Okay, and I like how you blame that on Megan, but sorry, Megan. Now you can see here on this screen, it shows the delayed retirement credits and how they've evolved over the years and how it's changed for folks. And we're at the point now where it's 8% a year increase. I don't think that's going to change. I do not believe we would ever go higher than 8%. It's a possibility that when they make the changes to Social Security, that in the future, if they raise the full retirement age to 70, the delayed retirement credits may go away. But if you were born so that you're at the point where your benefits don't change, so you're 55 or older, then you can count on this 8% being there. So that is the rate though that you get. It's 2/3 of 1% a month, and that equals 8% a year. Okay, so just like the reduction, Social Security will increase your benefit for each month you go beyond. If you don't take benefits at age 66, but you take it at 66 in 1 month, they'll increase your benefit by 2/3 of 1%, and you see that for the rest of your life. But they end that at age 70. So we want to talk a little bit then about when you want to take your benefits. Why would you want to take them earlier versus later? Of course, taking them earlier is that fact that we have now, that we have to have the instant gratification. You take your benefits at 62, you're going to receive your benefits a lot sooner. What you're going to do then is receive a reduced amount. If you're working and you try to take your benefits and you haven't reached your full retirement age yet, then your earnings could have an effect on your Social Security benefit. The break-even point for waiting on benefits from 62 to 66 is 12 years. So it'll take you to about age 78 to receive the same amount of money, whether you start at 62 or you start at 66. After that, then it just depends on when you began your benefits. You're either ahead of the game or you lose benefits each month. Taking benefits early, though, or even delaying them, will have an effect on the surviving spouse's benefits. It's the screen says effect on future widow benefits, but that could be widow or widower benefits. It doesn't matter there. You also have to look at your personal finances. If you need the money to live on, that kind of makes the decision for you. You're going to file at 62, but if you can afford to wait, that's good. And also your health will play a factor into that. If you're healthy, you have a good family history, then you may want to delay your benefits. If you're not such good health, and if there's nobody that's going to be left to draw benefits from your Social Security record, you may want to take your benefits early. So the important thing to remember is everybody's situation is different. You can't say, hey, my neighbor took benefits at 62 and it worked out great for them, because you don't know what their situation is. You don't know what their monthly benefit amount is. You don't know what other records they may be eligible on. So you have to figure it out for yourself, what it is for you and your family. Work before the full retirement age, as we talked about, is going to be offset by wages depending on how much you earn. If you earn over $14,640, Social Security is going to withhold $1 benefits for every $2 that you go over that figure. And they will do that starting with the year that you reach age 62 all the way through the year before your full retirement age. So right now, that's age 62 through the year you turn 65. And the year you reach your full retirement age, then that $14,640 jumps up to $38,880, and that is only included for the month of January through the month before your birthday. So if you were born in September, then they'll look at your wages from January through August. If you were under $38,880, then they'll pay you. You could start your benefits in January if you wanted to. But if you go over $38,880, then they hold back $1 benefits for every $3 that you go over. Once you reach your full retirement age, there's no limit on your earnings. When we talk about work, we're not talking about things such as other pensions, a 401k income that you may have, rental property that you have income from. It's only wages. So what you have on the W-2 form or what you see on your Schedule SE is self-employment income. It's only wages or self-employment income. It's not the other type of investments that you may have. Now, you're eligible for a Social Security benefit. Maybe your spouse is eligible for a benefit from your record as well. And the way Social Security figures that out is they will take your Social Security full retirement age benefit and divide that in half. And if your spouse is eligible for a monthly benefit on their own work record less than half of yours, then they can be eligible for a benefit. Now, they don't have to be eligible at all to receive something from you. So if you've worked and you're eligible for a monthly benefit and your spouse does not have their 40 quarters of coverage, then they're going to be eligible for, at their full retirement age, half of your full retirement age benefit. So let's say at age 66, you're eligible for $2,000 a month. That means then your wife or husband could be eligible for $1,000 from your Social Security records. You would draw $2,000, they would draw $1,000 for a total of $3,000. So their monthly benefit amount from your record does not affect your Social Security benefit. The other part of that is if they are eligible on their own Social Security record, then what Social Security does is they will look at your half of yours and subtract your spouse's benefit, and if there's any left, then they'll pay off of your record. So we use the same example. You're eligible for $2,000 a month, and your spouse is eligible for $500 a month. Well, they'll pay the spouse their own $500, and then an additional $500 from yours to bring them up to the $1,000. If your spouse, though, is eligible, say, for $1,200 a month, then they would just receive the $1,200 a month from their own work record. But benefits are payable. You both have to be at your full retirement age, and for your spouse to draw from your Social Security record, you have to have filed some type of application. You're either drawing a monthly benefit amount or you filed an application for benefits and told Social Security not to pay you. Now, we talked about family benefits in the beginning. If you have a child that's under the age of 18, they can draw benefits from your record, even if what you filed for is retirement benefits. If this child is under the age of 16, then your spouse, regardless of their age, is going to be eligible for a Social Security benefit from your work record as well. Now, you probably notice on the screen it talks about divorced spouse benefits. Those are also payable. And the rules for that, the payment amount rules are the same as for a spouse. They're eligible for up to half of your Social Security benefit. They have to be single to draw from your record. You both have to be age 62, and the marriage has to have lasted 10 years or more. Now, the difference between a divorced spouse and a spouse is, remember I said for a spouse, you have to file an application. If you've been divorced for 2 years or more, it doesn't matter what you do, your ex-spouse can draw Social Security benefits from your record if they're still single and you both are at least age 62 and that marriage lasted 10 years or more. So there's benefits payable to a current spouse and a divorced spouse. The good news is the divorce spouse benefit doesn't affect your benefit. It does not affect your current spouse's benefit. So they draw independent of each other. Just want to remind you, my name's Jim Blair, and I worked for Social Security for 35 years. So my experience is what gives me the information on the Social Security laws and rules and regulations. So your spouse can draw up to 50% of your record. We're going to talk a little bit in just a couple of minutes about how your spouse can draw, or you can draw off of your spouse, even if normally you're not eligible for benefits. Normally, though, it says you don't collect off of both, but if you're eligible on your own work record, Social Security will pay you on your own work record first, and then if you could draw an additional amount from your spouse, then they pay you the additional amount. What they mean is, if your spouse is eligible for $500, they won't pay them $500 on their own and then $1,000 off of yours. Now, widows and widowers benefits are a little different. First of all, widows and widowers can start drawing benefits as early as age 60, even as early as age 50 if they become disabled within 7 years of your death. The children benefits are the same. If there's a child under 18, they're eligible. If there's a child that's under 16, then the surviving spouse can be eligible for benefits regardless of their age. And also divorce spousal benefits are payable. The rules are the same. They have to be single, and they have to be, in this case, at least age 60. But again, the marriage had to last at least 10 years or more. Now, note at the bottom of the screen, it says remarriage after age 60 does not affect widows or widowers benefits. It's the same for the surviving divorced spousal benefits. So if you have someone drawing widows benefits and they're over age 60 and they decide to get married, their benefits are going to continue unless they can draw more from their current spouse's record. The widow's benefits are, instead of 50%, are 100%, but it's 100% of what you were eligible for at the time of your death, or what you would have been eligible for had you filed an application. So if you take benefits at 62 and your benefits are cut 25%, that 100% is 100% of the amount equal to your benefit with that 25% cut. If you wait until age 70, it's 100% of the amount with a 32% increase in there. And just like retirement benefits, if you take them before your full retirement age, they're reduced because you took them early, and at age 60, that's a 29.5% reduction. We talked about the kids already, but basically, a child under the age of 18 is eligible. If somebody's drawn a Social Security benefit and they have a child under the age of 18, they're eligible for benefits. If they're between 18 and 19 and still in high school, they can continue to draw benefits till they either graduate or reach age 19. And if you have a child that became disabled before the age of 22, they can draw a disabled adult child benefit, and that's payable to them for the rest of their lives. There's a $255 lump sum death benefit that's payable for a surviving spouse as well.
At this point, I'd like to point out to everyone on this phone call today a checklist that Jim and I put together. It's called Make a Plan. It goes over 10 questions that people should consider before applying for Social Security benefits. Number 1 relates to children. What impact will children have on your decision to claim benefits? Number 10 goes over the fact that benefits are calculated using the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. This is a really good starting point for you. If your clients come in and they want to start talking about Social Security, please pull down this checklist. Go to our website, which is mypremierplan.com. That's mypremierplan.com, and click on SS Checklist. This is a great place to begin your discussion. I don't want you to shy away from talking to your clients about Social Security. 10,000 people a day are turning 65, and questions about Social Security will just continue to grow. Please join my group on iShade and read the educational pieces which I put together. I just want you to feel comfortable in answering the questions that your clients are asking. So this is our Make a Plan Social Security checklist. And one of the items up here is the fact that we always consider Social Security to be a joint lifetime benefit. So make sure that you encourage your clients to look at it the same way. What we're going to do now is talk about options that folks have. A single person could have 3 to 5 options, surviving spouse 4 to 6, and a married couple 10 to 12. And it's by not exploring their options that Social Security recipients leave money on the table. But before we talk about options, Jim, have we talked about divorce situations and multiple ex-spouses?
Well, we talked about ex-spouses, but we didn't talk about if you have multiple ex-spouses. And what happens there is if you have more than one ex-spouse and those marriages all lasted 10 years or more, they're all going to be eligible on your work record. Or maybe you're the one with multiple marriages and you have several ex-spouses, then you've got a choice off of which record that you're going to file off of. So you can pick the one at the time you file that will get you the highest benefit, and then if that changes later, you can switch over to the other spousal benefit. So you kind of have some choices in there. You can move around. Just because you file for one benefit doesn't mean you're stuck with that if the situation changes. You can always move to the other record if it will get you a higher monthly benefit amount. Now look on the screen, and we have there an example of what we did for an individual, a single person who was eligible for a Social Security benefit on their own. They weren't going to be eligible for any ex-spousal benefits or anything. They just were only eligible on their own. And it's pretty simple. They have 3 options. You may hear some people say they have 700 options, but that's because they pick each month, 62 in 1 month, 62 in 2 months. And we look at certain points, 62, 66, or the full retirement age in age 70. And you can see from this, then we use the actuary tables that Social Security uses to determine what their expected death age is going to be, to figure out how much their benefit's going to be over their lifetime. But if they beat the odds, obviously, then they're going to continue to draw benefits until that time. So in this case, this person could delay, even with the average survival rate, they could delay their benefits to age 70, and they draw $454,000 over their lifetime. So you get $2,805 a month. If they took their benefits at 62, then they're going to receive $1,602 a month and only receive $411,000 over their lifetime, which is a $43,000 difference over their lifetime. If they live until their mid to upper 90s, that number could double. So you have to take into consideration a lot of factors, but you want to look at what your benefits are going to be. So in this case, if she files at 62, she's going to get $602 a month, or $1,602 a month, I'm sorry. If she waits till 70, it's $2,805, and if she takes it at 66, it's $2,125. So it seems to me anyway, the decision, if you can afford to do it between 66 and 62, is pretty much a no-brainer. You have to give it some thought between 66 and 70, but it is something you need to take into consideration. Now, if you're eligible for widows or widowers benefits, then you have more choices. And what you can do as a widow or widower is take one benefit early before your full retirement age and switch to the other record later. And it's pretty common for folks to take the lower benefit first, and then it's reduced, and then switch to the higher benefit when they reach their full retirement age, so that there's no reduction in the benefit. But you've got some options here. And in this person's case, their best option was to file for widow's benefits at 60 and switch to their own at 70. And that allowed them to draw a Social Security benefit for 10 years, and they delayed taking their own Social Security benefit, and it was able to increase their own Social Security benefit by 32%. Compare that to a real common action that people in this situation take, and that is they take their own benefit at 62, switch to the widow's at 66, and in this person's case, doing it that way would cost them $100,000 in monthly benefits. So they want to make sure that they pick the right option that is correct for them and for their lifestyle. Now we're going to look at what's payable to couples now. And they're eligible for 10 to 12 options. I'd say probably the average is 10. It can be less than that if somebody's already filed for Social Security benefits, but for the most part, most normal couples have at least 10 options, sometimes 12, and they're a lot of those are the same as everybody else's. They can each file 62, 66, or 70. They do file independent of each other. There's spousal benefits that may be payable, but there's a couple of things in there that you're not going to find people at the Social Security Administration talk to you about. You have what's called a restricted application and the claim and suspend option. The restricted application is done when either your spouse, they have to be at least age 62 and drawing benefits, or if they're age 66 and they're not drawing benefits, they have to do what's called claim and suspend, and we'll explain that in just a second. But your restricted application is you tell Social Security, I want to file for my spouse's benefits, leave mine alone. And that allows your benefit then to grow that 8% a year to age 70 if you want to go that far. And you can get your benefit then, you receive some money for those 4 years, and then at age 70 you get the benefit of that 32% increase. Remember I said though that you can't draw a benefit from your spouse if it's a current spouse unless they've actually filed an application. So the claim and suspend option allows your spouse to say, maybe I want to wait till I'm age 70 to draw my benefit, but I file my application with Social Security and tell them not to pay me. That way you still earn your delayed retirement credits, and then that allows your spouse to draw benefits from your work record. Well, in the case that we have up on the screen here, the difference between the person taking the benefits with the restricted application and the spouse, in this case, filing at 62, versus the last option in their case, which is the husband was going to go ahead and file at the time that we talked to them, and the spouse was going to wait till she was 66, is $120,000 difference over their lifetime. So you just have to think about those. You have to look at them, because once you file, you're locked in. And you want to do what's not only, you look at the options that are there and pick the one that fits your lifestyle the best, and that way you're assured that you're going to maximize your benefit.
Our time is a 35-year veteran of the Social Security Administration, and we just encourage all of you to try to help your clients understand Social Security. It's not that complicated. Use us as a resource. Feel free to send me an email, mkiner, K-I-N-E-R, @kinercpa.com if you'd like to reach out to me, or mkiner@mypremierplan.com, or join the Social Security group and ask me questions that way. But I just encourage you, try to help your clients or your employees understand Social Security. It's a complicated program, but it affects almost every American out there. And unfortunately, more than 90% of our recipients leave money on the table. At this point, I believe Megan's going to take over and tell you how to log into the Q&A session on iShade. Am I right, Megan?
Yes. So
go ahead. It's all yours.
No worries. Well, I think the last slide that we had, Mark, was pull up the directions to log into iShade. No worries.
Okay.
You know, since I messed up your pointer.
Yeah, wait a second.
It's the very last one. So we'll go ahead and plan on, if everybody could join us over on iShade, you can log in and go ahead and join the practitioner to practitioner group. and join the discussion topic, Marc Kiner, Jim Blair, Social Security. And we will be taking questions, and Marc and Jim will be live for about the next hour or so to answer all of your questions and regarding the presentation or, revolving something else around Social Security. So hope to see you guys over on iShade, and thank you, Marc and Jim, for the great presentation. I know we all learned a lot. So
thank you. Thanks for the opportunity,
Megan,
and thanks everybody for listening to us.
And hopefully we will see everybody over on iShade. Thanks again, guys.
Bye now. Bye-bye.